teams. So like a mistake, not just from a player, it could be a mistake from the ref. You know, he could give a red card, um, or call a penalty or whatnot, and that could cost a team. So
So can you kind of playing devil's advocate here? Does does that mean that it is much harder to win a league in Liga MX because of the fact that nothing's guaranteed, nothing's given to you. You have to earn it every step of the way. It's like a triathlon, you know what I mean? You can be winning 3/4 of the race, but if you don't have that second win for the Liga, then do you actually deserve silverware at the end of the season? It's like it's literally like do or die in this Liga, and the team that ends up winning this is well deserved of that silverware.
I would say no because when you're in Liguilla, you don't have to beat all the top teams. You know, it's like in the regular season, you might be competing with 2 to 4 teams for the title race, and it's teams that are doing good, and it's week in and week out, and just trying to see who slips up and who doesn't, um, or who's scoring more goals in case you have that tight in points. And in Liguilla, you're not gonna have to beat all the opponents because they're matched up, so you could end up avoiding a team that would have probably
Uh,
beaten you.
I see.
And I think that's what makes it a bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could end up with a team you match up well with, and then that,
styles make
and then
fights. We see it in boxing. You get a team that's very, very good at counterattacking versus a team that's super, super aggressive offensively. And, you might end up falling on your ass because they're going to kill you with a counter. And, I mean, Pachuca did a really good job against America. And, sure, maybe they shouldn't even had the opportunity to be in this position, to take a team in ninth place and to be in a position where you could knock out a second, seeded team. But that's why you got to play the games. Pachuca's in a semifinal, and they're gonna square up against Cruz Azul. And I want to talk
So
about
they're
the
not going to square,
what's up.
no square root. They're going to square up. No, but here's another thought though. Like say Brazil, how many World Cups has Brazil won?
5.
five.
Like five, right? So that's that's like a long season. You have five titles of the top tournament for national teams, and then you have one team perhaps that just wins one. So the better club is obviously the person who does better over a long span of time, which in like well, just say a short season or a long season, or the leader of the tabla general
Mm-hmm.
demonstrates the better club overall over a long period of time. And that's the same thing like in the NBA when you have a series of seven
Yep.
Yeah,
to advance.
yeah, that's what I we talked about. Oh man, a long time ago here at the cantina, how much different it would be if that's what Liguilla was like. Similar to NBA, a best
Best
a
out of
longer
7.
series.
Oh, that's too long.
That'll be a lot.
That's too much. I would do that if it was only like 4 teams going to Liga, but yeah, that's too much. Like best out of 3 or whatever. But
Wait, but do you watch basketball?
I do watch the playoffs, I do watch baseball, and
But basketball, you don't. But see, baseball and basketball aren't the games longer? The
yeah, the
baseball
game
games used to be like 10 hours, man.
baseball games on average are about 3 hours. Basketball games are pretty long too. I
Yeah,
think
see, soccer games.
yeah. But they have plenty of stop and go breaks. With football it's just 45 minutes, no break, then another, 15-minute break and then 45. So it's like there's no timeouts, there's no the time keeps going. So it's kind of hard to compare the formats. Um
Wait, but see, I can't. That's the thing. I can't. That's why some of those sports I just can't be in TV for 3 hours, and
Yeah.
an hour plus of that was just commercials and breaks.
Yeah.
I rather just have that 15-minute break, and then it's all action, man.
Yeah,
So
exactly. But
who
um,
knows, Jaime? I think some people might like it.
Americans find football boring because they don't have that break where they can get some McDonald's or chips and you know, oh,
Well, you can't now. You just overeat.
they're gonna have a timeout. I'm gonna let me do this, or there's a very social aspect of like watching American sports. There's like you can have side conversations and like have the game going such a long game. You're not really gonna miss any action. So it's just different. It's a different culture here. Um, I don't know. I don't know if this Liguilla format is sustainable. We'll have to see who ends up winning this whole thing to see if the most consistent team gets rewarded. Talking about consistency, let's talk about Toluca and Cruz Azul. Like I mentioned earlier, all the teams, the lower seeded teams, won their first leg. So Toluca at home beat Cruz Azul 2-1. Alexis Canelo really having a great campaign with Toluca, overall top goal scorer in the league. And he scored in that one off a PK. And then in the return leg, holy smokes. Alexis Canelo, 14 minutes in, scored, putting Cruz Azul 3-1 in a global. But Cruz Azul scored, and it was 3-2.
Wait, you meant Toluca?
Yeah. What?
You said putting Cruz Azul up, and then
Oh,
you
I'm
said
sorry.
putting
Sorry,
Cruz
I
Azul.
mixed it up. Yeah. Yeah. So it
All
was.
right.
It was. It was.
Okay.
It was. I'm sorry. I'm confused here. It was Cruz Azul who scored first in the return leg, making it 2-2 on aggregate, and then Toluca scored immediately after that, putting Toluca up 3-2. And then some controversial stuff. It got to the late minutes. I was actually watching this game, and you could feel the anxiety in the air. You could feel the tension in the air in El Azteca because Cruz Azul needed a score. And it was winding down, and it kind of started to feel like, oh my God, here we go again. The Cruz Azulada. The memes are going to start coming in. And then in the 80th minute, a very controversial PK. I don't agree with the call because the player, like, he fell like the way Robin fell, with his hands up, looked like he got shot in the back, and it looked like there was not much contact. It just looked like he dove. But the referee didn't even go to VAR. That was another thing that really upset me. They didn't even go to VAR. And Cabecita Rodriguez puts away the goal, and you could just feel the relief of the entire stadium and all the fans from Cruz Azul. And they ended up getting a dagger at the very, very end with Chaco Jimenez's kid scored in the 93rd minute. And Cruz Azul ended up getting the win, man. It was
his kid, who's the Mexican national.
Yeah, but he's been kind of snubbed from the team now, like as far
Well,
as
he's still young.
Yeah.
He's he's still young. I'm pretty sure he'll be there.
So Cruz Azul lived to see another day, but they were very close from getting eliminated from a team that was 10 places below them and 19 points below them. This almost happened. And I think that's the scary part.
Yeah. Oof. It's both, exciting if you're Toluca fan. Cruz Azul, it could be scary. Yeah, I think the Mexican fan, they've embraced this system. But I would.
It's entertaining.
It is. I'm not questioning that. Maybe I'm being nitpicky, but I would. I mean, consistency to me, I think I think because I feel it would change the mindset, not just of the fans, but of like the teams, like the culture in general of wanting to have teams that are really good throughout the season and not just, you know, just get into Liguilla and then you could play good there. It's sort of like don't do your homework, just kind of pass your midterms
Yeah.
and, just get that passing grade and then we're cool.
Just cruise, man.
Uh,
Just cruise.
but it feels like that. I'm not saying the teams do that, but
Yeah.
it certainly feels like that. And it just, I think it's a big reason why like teams are the way they are, where they're like,
Complacent.
and I see it with the well, like this kind of fuck it all attitude, and I see it with fans where there's like the team's going bad, and it's like, God, just fire the coach or just bring in a new squad,
I see.
and it's like because expectation, it's like if you got to Liguilla, then they feel that you had already done well, like in a sense.
It's just mind-boggling that a team in 11th position who has no business, like literally no business having any postseason opportunities. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it from any other league in the world, I'm looking at the Premier League right now. Aston Villa, right? 11th position, 49 points. Anybody in a normal circumstance would be like, this was a terrible season. This was embarrassing. We didn't even get to a Europa League spot. But hey, guess what? We have an opportunity to win the title against Man City, who is got almost 40 points more than us, had a perfect season, but we have a chance in a two-legged match to knock them out and get a chance at silverware. It's like, how? How is this even possible? And why?
Oh man, yeah,
Is it the money?
yeah.
Is it the TV ratings? What is it? Why
It's the
why do we encourage
their
this?
TV ratings. You said it. It literally is the TV ratings. I mean, and that's pretty much why it was designed that way. Just to for that reason. Because I mean, for a long time, that was pretty much the league was pretty much ran by Televisa, the more influential. So that's and then TV Azteca came in, and at one point they had like all these teams. So
Uh,
yeah, it was all for TV, you know.
I mean, it works, and that's the thing. You look at these matches, you probably wouldn't even watched it if it was a regular season match. Like, Toluca America, like, all right, uh,
Yeah, and that's like you said, and that's why it works. That's why it's brilliant. Even if I don't agree with it, props, man. It gets the ratings, it gets the people watching.
and it's such a crazy swing of emotions because, like, for example, in that match where with Cruz Azul and Toluca tied, um, in el global. If Toluca had scored a second goal, it's done. Se acabó. Like they would have had more away goals than Cruz Azul, and Cruz Azul would have needed to score like twice the amount of goals. So like it was very very intense because they knew that at any given moment, like this game could have been like completely over. And when you're watching that, when you know that like the stakes, it just turns the game that much more intense. You see a lot of players, they get shaky. You see a lot of mistakes. You also just see teams just throw, toda la carne al asador. Like they just boom, we're going all out. This is like live or die right now. So it just makes the games that much more entertaining.
Yeah.
We have somebody in the comments right now, Ricardo. He says, "Well, Chivas es un what?
It's Chivas is what?
Mierdedero de equipo." Maybe I said it wrong.
It's full of shit, I guess. Uh, Damn.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it can be. It can be. It can be a team like that. Uh, you know, I
Preaching to the
can,
choir, Ricardo. We already
cannot
know.
not disagree. It's too many problems there. I can't even defend that. Hey, but it's my mierda
Yeah.
little, so it's 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 like when you fart, it's like your own brand. It's not gonna stink to you. To everyone else, it might reek, but
um, I want to talk about our baby brother, Atlas. They've gone, I think, what, 70 years without silverware. And it felt like in this kind of crazy, tournament that maybe Atlas could get into a semi. And they won their first game against Puebla, 1-0. And then they went to El Cuauhtémoc in Puebla. And again, it was getting down to like the last 20 minutes of the match. It seemed like Atlas were going to hold on to this 1-goal lead. And in the most painful way, Puebla put a cross in, and Atlas' own defender put it in the back of the net, giving Puebla the advantage because they were tied 1-1 in a global. But since there was no away goal rule, sort of that canceled each other out. So the tiebreaker after that was who ended in the highest level in the table. So because Puebla ended up in third position, the draw goes to them, and they have gotten themselves into a semifinal. What is going on?
you know, I think the team not much was expected, and they ended up after the whole America fiasco. They ended up doing. They went on a pretty good run, and they ended up in what was it, eighth or seventh? But they go into Liguilla, and they just they just matched up against a team that's been doing well. There's you know, uh, but I think they're on the right track. You know, with Grupo Orlegui management, and as much as I'm enjoying them, you know, that they got out. I think it's good for the league and even for Chivas. I think ultimately they're gonna continue becoming more competitive.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, Grupo Orlegui, they've shown they know what they're doing with Santos, and if they can reproduce that, which we know something that we've seen with Grupo Pachuca, how Pachuca does well and they manage Leon, and Leon also does well to the point that they sort of compete against each other, and I think it's gonna be, I think it could be very similar for Grupo Orlegui with both Santos and Atlas.
Yeah, it's interesting because they both made Liguilla. And when I look at Atlas, they have a few players that look promising. They have this one guy from Argentina, Malcora. He was probably like their best player of the regular season. He's got the experience. He also has like a interesting haircut. And there's this one kid. His name's Jonathan Herrera. He's a Mexican striker. He's 19 years old. And they've been giving him a lot of opportunities this season, so it's a fun prospect to look at. And hopefully they can go back to their roots of promoting from within and having a strong academy again, because they got to have something, something going for them. They're not going to be winning silverware anytime soon, but they can at least contribute to the national team with finding gems in Guadalajara.
Well, I think that's a big reason that you know, Orlegui took over them. I think is to expand on that because they've been doing a good job with Santos with their youth academy and whatnot. So I think that's in lines of that.
Absolutely. So Puebla are also in the semifinals, and they will be playing against Santos. And that matchup was probably the closest one out of the bunch. You know, we're looking at Monterrey ended in 4th. Santos ended in 5th. Really not too much between the two teams. You have two great squads. And Aguirre being the only Mexican coach in Liguilla. They actually lost that first leg in Laguna 2-1. Eduardo Aguirre. That is a hot name in Mexico right now. He's a young kid. He's starting to get linked to Chivas.
Starting to is very linked
Yeah.
to Chivas, especially with Ormeño. I believe he just got bought by Grupo Pachuca. They might be sending him to León.
Wait,
So
really?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah. Well, man, you know, you gotta listen to the podcast,
that.
yeah, man. So
Yeah, Eduardo Aguirre, also Santiago Munoz. That's another prospect. He was part of the Preolímpico team. And his name was so close to Santiago Munez, the fictional character from Gol, that when he made his debut with Santos, Newcastle tweeted out. And they're like, hey, that looks like a promising, prospect. And everybody was like really confused. Like, oh my God, is he going to go to Newcastle? I'm like, no, dude, watch the movie Gol. It's like an inside joke. But yeah, Santos, man, they have a really good team and a really good goalkeeper. And
They also have a they
go ahead.
also have a fellow compadre from former podcaster Dan Preciado. They
Oh
have
yeah,
a delantero named Eduard Preciado. And on the yeah, he's a forward for
yeah,
Santos.
that was Pipiri Pau, right?
Yeah.
yes,
Oh
yes, it
yeah,
was.
shout out to Pipiri Pau.
Also on the Puebla side, you guys remember former national team? I don't know how many he was on the national team for maybe some friendlies and stuff. George Corral, not a bad guy, but he's sort of like, he was in the national team for a bit and he hasn't been for a long time, so it's like one of those older type of guys.
Interesting.
But yeah, he's one of the defenders for Puebla. And so yeah,
George,
George
is he
Corral.
And
he's
George.
Mexicano?
Yeah, he was on the national team.
Oh wow.
He
Wait,
like a few
which
times.
which the senior team or like the youth?
No, not the senior team. I think for like just some friendlies.
Yeah, my
Corral
little.
made his debut for the Mexican national team in a friendly versus the United States 2015. I really don't remember him. There's a lot of people that suit up for the national team that don't deserve it,
Yeah,
Hey,
he was
Damn,
playing
maybe
really
they
well back in the
deserve it
day.
at the time.
Yeah, he did deserve. He was playing really well
oh,
at the
okay.
time. And there was another guy, I think, who's sort of like came and went as well. I forget his name, but there's so many players that that get called up just like to check, and then it doesn't pan out, and then they. But
Well, I
he's
sometimes it's not they pan out. They just probably lose out to the better players.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean they suck. They're just the other guy was just slightly better, or the coach ended up liking him more. But yeah, you'll see in a 4-year cycle, there will be about 80 players that get called up
Yeah.
between moleros and tournaments and whatnot, cup and all that. Yeah, and think about it, like the squads is up to 20 players, for like tournaments.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they do the camps where they call like close to 30 for like a training camp.
Yeah. Carlos Acevedo, he's not getting the credit he deserves. He's a really solid goalkeeper. And, there's one thing about Mexico is we've never really had a problem in that area with goalkeeping. There's always somebody stepping up to the plate. And right now we just have we're oversaturated with good goalkeepers, but I think he deserves a call up, especially if we're calling up like, Hugo Gonzalez, and he's like, come on, man, like this guy's younger, he wants it more and he deserves a shot. He's doing a great campaign with Santos. So yeah, Santos won the first leg 2-1 at home, and in Monterrey, Monterrey actually got off to a quick start with Maximiliano Mesa scored, tied the game up 2-2 in a global, and it looked like it was steady, smooth sailing. Monterrey were gonna go ahead with the tiebreak because they, were higher seated in the table. And Santos, at the very last minute, we're in stoppage time, Ronaldo scored the goal and put Santos in the semifinals. Gentlemen, is this considered an upset?
Mm. Chickies.
I, wa-
I, I, I,
I want to
I,
say it
I
is. I want to say it is a little bit
I think it's
because
an
if you look
upset.
at the like the names, like I believe Santos has had bigger names in past clubs than they do now.
Oh, 100%.
Like a lot of the guys are sort of young. Like before
Achita.
they had, or not even that far back. Like just recently when they won their title, like a few years ago, they had like some big names. But
well,
Monterrey,
it's go on,
Monterrey right
Chiquis.
now, Monterrey right now has they got Hugo Gonzalez, Cesar Montes, Gallardo, Layun, Mesa, all these Funes Mori, Johnson, like all these are like Carlos Rodriguez. All these guys are like top dudes, man, well known. And
Yeah,
you know, some of these Santos guys aren't like, well, you have Isihara, you have Orantia. There's some good guys as well, but not like to the
They're
to the
not,
level.
yeah. The names
yeah.
don't really ring a bell as far as like, oh, these are like, players that have established themselves in Liga MX. A lot of these guys are still trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, in terms of investment, it's obvious. It is. It is a fracaso just because who they lost to. Monterrey should have been favorites. Well, I mean, we're favorites, but they should have been able to overcome Santos. Just because the not just the players, they also brought Javier Aguirre, highest paid coach. So yeah, it's a lot of money that they have on that team, and to lose to, if they would have lost to, let's, Cruz Azul or America, then it's it's teams where they're more even. But to lose to Santos, who was like you say, it's sort of like in a rebuilding phase. Maybe they're just putting their squad together. It does leave that sour taste.
The only
Uh,
thing I would say is that Santos did do well in the regular season. Like overall throughout the season, they came in fifth and Monterrey in fourth. So they're really close
it was
together.
close.
They're only two
Yeah.
points apart. So Santos did do well. So they, in that aspect, they're not some schlub team. They're
No, no,
real good.
Santos hasn't been. And I was just talking
Oh
about
yeah.
how Grupo Orlegui has done a great job, and we've seen here how they normally they'll build a team and they'll go a couple seasons where it's like they won't do so good, but then once they get it going, they'll compete for honors, and so it's like every 3-4 years where they're like making a final.
Yeah.
I went back and I looked at the squad that won that championship back in 2018 for Santos. I mean, they had squad, man. Jonathan Orozco was the goalkeeper. Jesus Angulo, Nestor Araujo, stud. Jorge Sanchez, who now plays for America. They had Dagini, and they had,
Shiny.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's good.
Julio Furch when he was like actually really good.
I
Uh,
think he's still good. He
yeah,
may not be at his best.
no, yeah, but
He-
they also had Cabecita Rodriguez. So it's like they had
yeah, well,
they
those
had
those two
squad,
guys,
man.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. The genie, you mean Djalmina or another one?
Anini.
Giannini,
Oh,
the genie, he's
all
from
right. I
Cabo
might be
Verde.
confusing. I think that's the guy I was thinking of. Wasn't he like the one of the top scorers, and then
Oh yeah, dude, that guy
they
was a
sold him?
yep.
Oh, don't forget
Yeah, Gianni. I can say the Gianni. What am I thinking of?
Don't
Some
forget the
America player?
Oh, they had
um
Osvaldo Martinez as well. Yeah, Osvaldo Martinez, Torito. They had
forget
Gallo
the
Vasquez. Yeah,
don't forget the panda. The panda. What's that guy's name?
Panda.
He 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 played for the Mexican national team as well.
Who?
The
What's his name?
Panda.
Panda.
I forget his nickname. He scored one of the goals. He's like a merc. He was an Argentinian guy from that naturalized, and he played for the Mexican national team. Scored one goal like in
Oh, I
qualifiers.
know who. Also Polar, not the
Bosa
Panda.
and yeah, I was like also pull. I was like,
With the Panda, I was
He
like, what the?
no, he wasn't. He
I was
wasn't on
forgetting
that
his
team.
name.
This guy is playing
Buoso. Yeah.
testing games.
Bosa. I was forgetting my Bears.
Also Polar.
El Oso Polar. Yeah.
He wasn't on that team that won the championship, but yeah, obviously he played for
No, yeah, it
Santos.
was before. Yeah, it was before
And
with them.
Robert Ceboldi was the coach. Santos, man, they're doing really good as far as scouting goes. I mean, if you look at this team from 2017, a lot of these players are in Europe now. Nestor Araujo, Gerardo Arteaga. He just became champion over there in Belgium. A lot of these players are. It seems like they have really good scouts. But yeah.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job. No, yeah, definitely bringing in players and all of that.
So now that we know who our semifinalists are, we're looking at one side with Cruz Azul and Pachuca and Santos versus Puebla. Are we starting to get an idea of who's going to be champion, or is this still kind of up in the air?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick to my guns. I still think Cruz Azul is gonna put an end to
Ooh.
their curse. Uh, so I'm staying there. But I mean, I do think just how it's shaped up, it does seem like it's up for grabs.
I'll be honest, man. I think that they've gone over their biggest hump, with having that close call with
And
Toluca,
America's
and
eliminated,
and
so
America's
they don't have
eliminated. I
they don't
think
have to play their coco.
I honestly think that they've gone over their the biggest obstacle. I do think that Pachuca should not be underestimated because of what they've done so far. I mean, scoring 5 goals against America is not an easy task over the course of 2 legs, obviously, but still. And no le pesó el Azteca. I mean, Pachuca are gonna be right back at El Azteca to fight this thing. So I think if you're Pachuca, you're like, hey, you know what? We're lucky to even be here. We had no chance of winning this, title, but here we are. We've upset, 2 big teams, Chivas and America. Why not go for the hat trick and really make this a stink? But Joel, you think the Cruz will get through? Or do you think the curse will haunt them in the semis?
Luis Juan.
I think. Oh, we
Oh
lost
yeah.
him. What about you, Chiquis?
I think Cruz Azul can get through. Actually, like with these lineups, I'm thinking more with my heart than with my head. I want Cruz Azul to get through. I want
Ah,
Puebla. I want Puebla to get through and play against Cruz Azul, and then I want Cruz Azul to win it.
interesting.
That's just like what I want. What I think will happen. I think Cruz Azul is going to get through. I think Puebla and Santos is a toss up, but I think Santos is going to get through. And then I never like assume with Cruz Azul. They could probably lose to they could lose to all 3 of these teams. So anything could happen, but we'll see. I'd love for them to win the title though. I'd love for Cruz Azul to win the title.
Oh, you guys want a happy ending? Disney ending?
Yeah.
Nah, to me, as I said it last podcast, not so much of the happy ending. I want the league with the most stronger teams possible. Not because it could get to the point where it's like mainly the Monterrey, Monterrey teams, Monterrey Rayados, Tigres. Um, so you want to see some of these teams that invest a lot, like Cruz Azul, and even America continuing to do so.
I was trying to find that last title that Santos won. They beat Toluca in the final. But I can't really think of any Santos Cruz Azul like finals or matchups. I don't know if that might be like the first time they're gonna play each other in a final. But I'm kind of thinking ahead here. I think that I'm going against Cruz Azul, man, just for the laughs, man. I know that they're the best team in the league. I know that they had this huge like I don't know, ghost of the past and all these memes and stuff, and they don't want to continue to like make these happen. And you know, if they had any chance of winning a final, this is it, man. You don't have the big boogeyman America there anymore, and this is accessible. You have an 8th seed team that you're gonna match up against, and then you know Santos and Puebla. It doesn't matter who you get. I mean, Cruz Azul have a much better squad. But you just never know, man. The mental midgery, you know, I think like they just when it comes to these opportunities, they just I don't know, man. It's in their head. But
Mental munchkins, but you know, munchkins can be brave and powerful as we've seen, as we've seen in
as
recent
we've
videos.
seen. Yeah. Yeah,
Even
definitely.
that other video of he's not a dwarf or a munchkin, whatever you want to call it. But that remember that one guy? He's like got a beard, and people mess with him. He's like from Romania or Russia or something, and he'll always be like trying to fight people. He's like
Oh, you
really
mean the
short.
Turkish? Is
Yeah,
like the Turkish?
the Turkish guy.
Yeah.
That dude is awesome, man. That guy will like mess you up.
uh yeah. So Pachuca and Cruz Azul will square up on Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. That's Pacific. I have a feeling it's going to go down similar to the American match. You know, I think Pachuca will be productive at home, maybe get a goal or two. But obviously, the key here and the name of the game is clean sheets. Not conceding away goals is how you win. So if you're Cruz Azul, you're going to try and score as many goals as possible. And that way you have a little bit of breathing room in the return leg. But I actually think Pachuca will go through and beat Cruz Azul. As far as Santos and Puebla, I'm surprised that Puebla have gotten this far, to be honest. I know that they ended in 3rd place, and I should give them more respect. But if it's not for Ormeño kind of carrying this team, you know, this team is pretty much done. Santos have way more weapons at their disposal, and I think that they can get through and beat Puebla over the course of 2 legs. I know maybe Puebla might get them at home, but I think Santos will do a really good job on Thursday and maybe do more than enough to get the job done over the course of 2 legs. So I actually could see a Pachuca Santos final. What I actually think it'll be will probably be a Cruz Azul Santos final. But yeah, those were my predictions.
Oh, I agree. Same. I feel it's gonna go that way too.
And if you're Puebla, hey, it's a successful season. You ended up in 3rd place. You get to the semis. You overachieved. You know, they remind me of Pumas when, you know, they overachieved last year.
Well, I mean, this is the second, their second season where they've been, they maintain consistency. So I don't know.
They ended
When we
up in
say they're,
12th last season, so yeah, last season they ended up in 12th, but they upset Monterrey.
but then yes, I
Yeah.
mean,
So this season has been much, much more consistent for them. Yeah, so that's the semifinals for Liguilla. I don't know if we discussed what happened with Chivas as far as them agreeing to extend Vucetic's contract. I don't know if that happened after we recorded, but I will tell you this. I ordered the Chivas 115-year anniversary jersey, And it arrived the day that Pelas had that press conference and explained why he decided to extend Vucetic's contract, and I was just in
Da-
a I didn't even want to wear it. I didn't even open the package. I'm like, you know what?
Damn.
I was just upset, man, because here we go. You have an out. This is your opportunity to he can walk out the door, no harm, no foul. You're not firing him, you're not dismissing him, he's not quitting. His contract expired, and it didn't work out. But no, this guy doubles down. I don't know if it's an ego thing. I don't know if it's a pride thing, or I don't know if he's just clinically insane, but he decides to say, yeah, you know what? Let's do this another round. Let's do this for another year. Fuck it.
I so did you listen to the presser he gave?
I did, and I just think he's full of
You
bull.
think, but so basically, the reason he gave was that they were going through the numbers and they saw that you know that from the past, what is it, three 3 years, so like five seasons of all the coaches that came, Wuse has had the best uh, percentage as far as like games won and whatnot. And so it's like, why are you gonna fire the guy that's out of like how many coaches had it been? Like 4 or 5. Why are you gonna sack the guy that's done the best? And so, but I mean, and so seriously, I same question I have to ask to you. Why would you sack that guy who's who's doing who's doing a pretty good job as far as like, or better job than what was there before?
I don't agree with the statistics. You can dress him up or dress him down to your advantage, however you like. I think that he has done an okay job. Like, yeah, he's had like 34 games. He's won almost half of those. Like, okay, that's fair. I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more concerned about how does the team look and how is our attitude and how is our energy out there. And that's the part that doesn't convince me because this team is not playing the way that they should be playing, and he's not utilizing the players correctly. He's got them out of position, and he's trying to go for this whole like defensive team, but we're not very good defensively, and we've been exposed on set pieces and a lot of mistakes defensively. So I just don't agree with his style of play, and I don't necessarily think that the players have his back or he has their back. I think Fernando Tena was actually winning the players over, and the players were very upset when he got fired abruptly. I don't think that this is the same attitude that people have towards Vucetic. I think he's just archaic in his ways, and he refuses to adapt to the new way. I mean, the game's changed, and there's players that they're kind of like hybrids. They're not necessarily your traditional left back. They're kind of like a left wing back. When I'm thinking of like Chicote and Canelo. Canelo, he can be all over the field, but I don't know, man. I just feel like this was a great opportunity. You have the summer to go out there and find someone that could do a better job. Not necessarily like the points wise and win percentage, but just style of play.
That seems to be the most important for a lot of fans. Style of play. I don't. So I think at that point you're more watching to be entertained, which I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. So like on that sense, I get it why people don't like him. But I mean, we just can't ignore all the stuff that's going on in the league and just how much more difficult it is for Chivas to compete. So when we look at like the top coaches right now, for example, what Tuca was earning and how the rumor was Chivas will go after Tuca, but then it's insane if you think Chivas could pay him what he was making at Tigres, and then like to bring someone like Vasco, and it's like obviously they can't pay him Monterrey is paying him, and then there's Piojo, and then it's like he's going to Tigres. Obviously, he's getting a fat check, and so you're seeing that Chivas right now
What about
they
Nacho?
can't even they can't even go after those guys. But see, Nacho wants to go to Europe, and I feel it would have been the same. Nacho was already at Chivas, and the Chillermanos complained the whole way. So it's like you don't deserve that guy. It's just just because he was allowed to work and he did well, but he wants to go to Europe. So I think his mind is set. Um, but like I'm saying, the money's not there for a coach, and then we go to the players where you have a league that a few years back said, all right, no limit on extranjeros. So what all the teams did was they loaded up on foreigners. And then what was the cause and effect? So what was the effect of that? Less Mexican players playing. So now it's like less for Chivas to choose from. Like if before they could snap up some guy that's not getting playing time, like sort of how when they got Moncho, Ramon Morales, he was
Hmm.
at Monterrey. They brought him as backup. They didn't know he was gonna blow up. But you're starting to see less of that just because the teams just no longer have that. If there was like if a team brought three more extranjeros, that means three less Mexicans that are gonna get playing time. So I mean, for Chivas, that means once you add it up throughout the whole league, uh, then that's a big number of players that are no longer getting playing time and less options.
Yeah, but
So I feel that
we
that has
should
hurt the
be
team. Those two things.
planting our own seeds, and we shouldn't be relying on other clubs.
No,
Pro-
but I mean, you still have to like, cause Chivas can even if you have the best cantera, you're not always gonna produce enough to fill up your whole squad. So sadly, Chivas does depend on the league as a whole, even the second division, to produce players so that they could maintain relevant and become competitive. I mean, as long as they keep that Mexican only policy, they would have to like switch it up and then be like, okay, we could bring in some Brazilians and Argentines
that's never gonna
to
happen.
to or yeah. So I mean, that's why it's they're dependent on. I mean, because look at the last championship they had. It was a lot of players from Grupo Pachuca, Pizarro, Gallito, Gulit Peña, all these dudes. That even Pulido was from Tigres,
Cota.
but you you had a big chunk that came from other teams, and so I mean, and that's what ended up helping the team win. But so I mean,
Yeah.
what would have happened if they wouldn't have gotten those dudes? I mean that the odds of them winning, having that doblete season would have just plummeted. I don't think they would have gotten very far. So that's why I'm saying I want like even Atlas. I know they're rivals, but it ultimately like when you have more teams working on youth, then you because and there's the other thing that happens a lot of times. These guys will snatch talent from each other.
Here's the thing. On one point, I agree with, and I applaud the front office allowing longevity and encouraging longevity. Um, I do like that. I do like that they're not doing the same thing over and over again. That's what Pelaz said. It's like, hey, we've done this thing where we have a short leash on coaches. We fire them, we hire them, we fire them, we hire them. So let's do the opposite. Let's give, continuity to this guy. It's just they picked the wrong guy. I would have been happy if they had a young guy or, somebody that was maybe playing very, very aggressively offensively and just being exposed defensively. But the team looked exciting. The team looked fun. And the players were happy and the players were starting to buy into the coach. And then, you know what? Like, I know the results aren't showing, but the progress is there. And we're going to give this guy a year extension. I would love that. I would love that. But the reality is we're extending the contract of a coach that doesn't he's not producing and
well, but see,
is very inconsistent.
well, I don't know, but see, like this is the thing about like, because you're saying if they play like an attacking style, and then you said even if they get exposed, but this is the thing, it's a short season, and ultimately it's a business first, sports second. So I mean, you're dependent on ratings, you're dependent on sponsorships, and all these deals. It's very important for the team to make playoffs. So, and that's the thing. You could look ugly, but if you're at least getting into that, you know, into that liguilla or even repechaje, then at least you're
They could have
better
done
off.
that with
And
Micheliano. They didn't need Vucetic. They could have gotten to
well,
the.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Then
there's
maybe
12
you see
spots.
that's all subjective, man.
There's 12
That's you
spots
know.
in Liga and Repechaje now. There's no way Chivas wouldn't have made it with or without Vucetic.
Hey, well, I mean, it's hard to tell, man. It's subjective. We could say this, but we really don't know unless it gets played off. You know.
I want to go quickly to the comments because oh boy, it's I don't know what it is about Chivas, but it lights up the comments. We have Ricardo saying that. Uh, wait, where was it? Where was it? I concede that Vuce doesn't motivate the guys because they are inconsistent. It's ridiculous. And he's asking Chiquis to call us out on our Bulls, saying that
Oh man,
Chivas is a shit show with a broke owner and a mediocre players.
damn.
And check this out, he's saying that uh they're keeping Vucetic because they have no money to hire a new coach, which that actually makes a lot of a lot of sense, to be honest. Maybe we just don't have money to be spending on a new coach, and I'm okay with that if we use that money to buy
He's
players
he's
because
Buzek gets a lot of hate, but his stats. He's one of the best coaches in the league, and
was
so I mean that's
was
no man.
man.
He still is.
He's been
You know,
irrelevant
and
for 5 years. Querétaro was
I mean he
2016.
was at Querétaro. Yeah,
He doesn't
but
have
it's not
buckets.
easy, man. It's not. But I'm just gonna finish this really quick, Chiquis,
Yeah.
because like how you're saying how the game evolved, but see then you're making it seem like Musa doesn't keep up with that stuff. Like he's going off of some outdated playbook. Like he has like a phone book still, the yellow pages,
He has a
and he's
Rolodex.
flipping through that. And it's like, nah, man, these guys are always studying the game. They're always like they are on top of it, man. So I think he just doesn't get credit. And I get his style might not be the best, but I think I think I don't think it matters what I think. But I just a lot of these attitudes are that seen over them. I think they're misplaced.
Let me. This is something I just thought, like on the chat, just chatting with Ricardo and stuff.
Shout out to
Um,
Ricardo. He's
no,
cracking me
just
up.
just 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 chatting with. Oh yeah, like he's got some good points sort of here. But I was just thinking, like Vucetic, like you're saying that he doesn't, or what did you say? He doesn't really. I don't know what you said, but he seems like his personality is not to the liking of the players. He seems
Absolutely.
like an old school type of dude. He's sort of like dry and has no personality. Whereas when you see the beloved Matias Almeida and how all the Chivas fans and all the Chivas players, flock to him, even in San Jose, they love him with his,
He had charisma.
he's taking his picture with a
Yeah,
goat. He's doing his theater for everyone to see and to like love him and adore him and making all these like photo ops for people to adore him. And Vucetic
yeah,
isn't like that. Vucetic isn't gonna play to your feelings. He isn't gonna pat you on the back and say you're doing okay. He's gonna say, and it doesn't matter if you're a diva or if you're like a starter. He'll put you on the bench just like he did with Ronaldinho. We talked about that
Mm,
before. And he's just gonna do what is correct. And he's gonna be quiet. He's gonna be boring. He's gonna be lame, if you want to call him that.
pecho
But he's gonna
frío.
do what, yeah, Pecho Frio. And
no, how is it? But that pecho frio
well,
means that
okay, define Pecho Frio. Define Pecho Frio. Maybe not.
pecho frio means when the going gets tough, this guy's gonna. And I don't think he did, man. Look,
Yeah,
he
because he came
was
up
at
towards the
at
end a little.
he he was at that point where everyone was like, sack him, sack him. Chivas not doing anything. And he got the team to win like five, I don't know how many, four. He ended up going on a run, and that Petrofrio wouldn't have done that, man. They would have crashed hard. Every of those games would have been a wash. And then I would have said, you know what, this guy doesn't know. But the
Like these
opposite happened, man. He got
these
them.
yeah, these Gen Z players nowadays, man. They want
It's
to be
different, man.
they want their sun kissed and they want their orange slices. Like
It's
they're
it's it's
Dude,
different.
orange slices.
Chivas went on a 3-game tear. It was Tijuana, Monterrey, and Atlas. Then they tied against Tigres. So I mean, it's not like, and it was Alexis Vega pulling these games out of his ass. Like he saved us in that. Like, it was not because of Vucetich is a great coach. No, it was because we had a brilliant player that was literally carrying the team on his back and like finding ways for us to win because it got to that point where they said, you know what, we're the ones playing on the pitch and we're just gonna do whatever, like we're just gonna do whatever it takes to win because this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
But see, then
He's
you're
taking
also
out
saying
Macias.
Pelaez doesn't know
Macias
what
is
he's
not
doing.
playing well, and it's just, dude, like it's bad.
But to say that, that's like you're taking away responsibility from the players, and the other thing that we've talked about is just how the league, how leveled a lot of the teams are. Chivas hasn't been a team where they're just whooping everybody's ass, where they're winning just because of the stripes on the jersey. They're a team that can't even qualify to Liguilla. That if you go and look at the record on, for the past 20 years, the number of times they missed out is just embarrassing. I can't even you can't really say they're grandes that they haven't shown it. They're not Santos, Pachuca. They've been more, you know, they've been more consistent in just playoffs and all that stuff. So I think the fans just overly expect them just because I think they're living off of the past, the coast of Campeonisimo, but it's way more harder than I think the fans realize just how difficult it is for Chivas to field a competitive team. So he's saying if there is, but I think chances are they would just be getting their asses handed to them. Chivas if they were to try to be more open, more attacking, especially with a squad like a limited squad, which is what they have in my opinion right now.
Yeah. Really quick on the comments, they said repechaje was invented because of Chivas.
No, what's up? Come on, man.
If you say no, then you're denying Chivas is a grande.
No, because you know what happened. Chivas they never finished. Well, he said repechaje. I was thinking
Yeah,
the
those extra
the
4
relegation.
spots, man. Just in case,
Chivas,
just in
if Chivas is a
case.
grande, you
And
need
we
them in the Liga.
and that's what I'm saying. We unfortunately we had to rely. We used it as a crutch this season. We wouldn't have been in Liguilla if it wasn't for repechaje. We ended
Well,
up in
a lot
ninth.
of teams. Well, a lot of teams because like if you look at how often the big four, the supposed big four are in Liguilla, and it just hasn't been that consistent. I'm,
All right.
I'm talking Pumas here, Chiquis.
Oh, yeah. Let's
they're,
throw Pumas into the
they're
mix.
they're the other one of Grandes that haven't been pulling their weight.
They're
Hey,
the Dollar Tree grande though, man.
second place. They got second place last season. Um, kind of switching gears here. This was a highly upvoted comments on Reddit. I don't agree with it, but I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. The final should only be one game.
And it's got to be in
Well,
a neutral spot.
yeah, I would say neutral spot, or maybe the team that won the season, that finished at top of the season. Um,
I
I don't know, man.
I don't agree with it. This is not a Champions League. All right, you want Champions
Well,
League
it
format?
feels like it with the playoffs,
I
you know.
guess, but I've always liked the idea that you have the opportunity to play in front of your fans and have at least one game
True.
there. Like, you earn that. You are the team in the final. And a lot of
Yeah,
the
and
times in the final, when it's a one and done thing, it could go to penalties. The teams play very defensively. They're just trying to, drag it out. And
yeah,
then the team that really didn't deserve to win ends up winning. And the fact that you beat a team over the course of 180 minutes, you got to play in their home, your home, no excuses. Like, the best team clearly won. That's the way I feel about it.
true. No, I agree. And then just thinking what you said about the fans. For a lot of fans, it's like they're not gonna have that many opportunities to go to attend a match where their club is gonna win the league. It's not. You could go years, waiting for that. So yeah,
Like,
you kind of rob
imagine
the fans of that experience.
Puebla makes the final, and then they got to play in a neutral field.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Fans,
just the
when's the
other
last time
teams,
Puebla
yeah.
were in a final? Like, 90s?
Damn. Like probably.
I'm looking it up right now. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Say
neutral's not
when
a
La
good idea.
Puente was it when La Puente was coach. So like early
Yeah,
90s or 89. What was it?
Let's see. Honors. Champions 89-90. Runners up 91-92. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that was with La Puente.
long time ago.
Damn.
Copa MX 2015, but still can't compare that to
And that was with Guac, with El Gobe. And his last match, he retired.
Well,
They beat Chivas, and he took the cup home.
I don't think they beat
And
Chivas. Did they?
they did.
They
It was the
did?
Copa MX. They beat Chivas,
Oh,
and
wow.
that was Cuauhtemoc going away, man.
He
He
was
went
still
to do
playing in
governor duties.
2015?
It's like his last game. That one was like his last like
That's
official game.
crazy. Yeah, you're right, man. That's crazy. He must have been like
It
40
doesn't
years old.
seem that long, but it's 6 years ago, man. So yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
time flies.
I don't agree with that, but people on Reddit don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's a bunch of bunch of people that don't.
You never know, man. Someone might have a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
No, in one sense, it's kind of cool, but I'm more of the romantic, and I agree with your takes. I do think in the two-legged is can reward, can, especially without the whole away goal stuff, can reward the better team,
Yeah.
and also giving both fans a chance to experience that, man. That's also because, I mean, fans are there for years and years, cheering, and then this opportunity comes up, and what they gonna shake you down for more money,
Yeah.
because those tickets become even more difficult to get when it's like,
Oh, yeah, that's another thing
and
too.
then you see where it's like, and then a bunch of those seats are, get gifted to the sponsors and whatnot.
Mhm.
You don't even have fans of the teams watching. It's just other people that are just there because it's like an event. It's like a thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to thank everyone in the YouTube comments tonight. Really lighting it up, Ricardo, man. That guy's trolling us hard. But sometimes you do need that. You need that assault, to really have open up the conversation even more. And be like, you know what?
Yeah, got me good with the repechaje thing. Okay.
It's okay to laugh because this is a reality. Chivas right now are in it's struggle mode for them. I'm very curious to see what kind of moves they do in the off season. I think today we were in the chat, and there's rumors about Fernando Beltran being used as trading chips, He might go to Pachuca. He might go to Necaxa. We're trying to get Eric Aguirre. We're trying to get the other Aguirre, Eduardo Aguirre from Santos. So I mean, it's very clear that Vucetic does not have plans to use him, and it's a damn shame because he was a very exciting prospect, and he's been erased from the team.
Justin Busse.
And that's another thing too. I mean, with Belaz having this press conference and extending this guy's contract for another year, it's very clear that they're gonna stick by this guy, regardless of the results. Like, I don't think that Chivas will fire him if they have like the worst season ever, because they're gonna stick by their guns and double down on this guy. He says that he's the best coach in Mexico and all this and that. It's like, I don't think he's gonna fire him. He's gonna go down with the ship. So at this point, I guess as fans, we kind of just have to accept it
Yeah,
and just give support to the team instead of all this negativity. Because there's a lot of, every time Chivas tweet and they're it's the score or whatever, it's all a bunch of negative comments, and it's like, you know what?
yeah.
At this point, we just have to it's a tough pill to swallow, but we have to back this guy.
No, look, and look, I'm gonna go broken record here because I've been saying it at least for the last 2 or 3 podcasts of just how just very little room there is to slip up in the league, and then for Chivas just because how they ended, they ended in what, ninth, 2 points from 13th, but 6 points from third place. That's 2 games, that's like a 2 game difference. So I do think if they could get Buse the players that he needs, or just overall bring in some players that can deliver, because we saw a couple guys that just, and I say it's open for debate whether it was Buse's tactics or the players just dropping form. But if they could bring in, if they could, they're ultimately going to need players, and if they could bring in 2 or 3 pretty good players, there was a talk of Araujo, which I think would bolster the defense. And so I do think Chivas could at least be in playoffs. And at this point, they were already having a better consistency than the past 3 years.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, looking at the silver lining overall, if you look at this like the 2 seasons and you kind of add them together, not bad. You get to semifinals, and then this one was kind of bad. You get eliminated in the wild card round, and it kind of just, you add those two results together, and you get kind of a mediocre season, but in the right direction, because we had Cardoso, we had Tena, and we were just not, we were going backwards, and we were without Leguia for such a long time, 5 seasons. So we're slowly getting back into the right direction. With a few right signings, maybe this can turn from dog shit to, I don't know, like coffee. We're getting to the caramel color, maybe get into a top 6. But when it comes to Ligia, as we're seeing today, as we're seeing this unfold right now, all it takes is a team to get hot at the right time, and they can end up winning some silverware and upsetting, the contenders. And I do think that if Chivas can get some defense and maybe sell Macias, cash in on him and find somebody else to fill in his boots, I think that they could become contenders. I think it's possible to happen in a season. You're not going to change the coach, so that's going to be consistent. Do some shuffling with the players and see what we can produce on the field.
Yeah, I mean they definitely have plans with the youth, with what they're doing with Tapatio, and they got a few players there. So I mean, they got some stuff working at. Um, so it's all just wait and see how it pans out.
For sure. Well, boys and girls, I believe that's all we have for tonight. I do want to ask if we have any closing thoughts. Start with Cheekies. I know he's been diving in the comments section. I don't know if he's still with us.
I guess shout out to Chicharito who's playing some Warzone right now on Twitch. So if you wanna,
He deserves it. He Chiquis, we've criticized him in the past, but
He's
he
back,
he
baby.
deserves
He
yeah,
is
he
back.
deserves to be he deserves to play all the Warzone he wants right now.
He has scored yet again.
With
He's
7 goals in 5 games, or what is
7
it?
goals. But don't get your
Is it
hopes up.
5 games or less than 5?
And they beat LAFC as well, like in this
Yeah,
whole
because
process.
you had asked me if he could do over 20. Remember, I said yes, and it's
Yeah,
headed that way, Jaime.
I know he can score 20 goals in this league because of the defense. It's pretty bad. It's really bad, and he's not gonna let those go, man. He's a poacher, and he knows how to be at the right place at the right time. It's the defense's fault for not grabbing his shirt or just obstructing his view, man. They're just letting him walk in with the ball, so he's gonna continue to put him away.
Wait, did speaking of walking in with the ball, did trophies get any highlights?
La Chonquis, San Jose. I'm trying to think. I think they lost their last game 2-0 to Portland.
Uh,
Yeah.
we're losing the chat. There's like don't talk
Oh,
MLS, but I mean, how could we not? You have trophies, you have Vela, Chicharo. You guys want us to ignore?
um I do have something to say though. Don't get your hopes up with Chicharito because his numbers are not enough for Gerardo Martino. He has announced the team that will be in the Conca
Oh
Champions,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Nations League, and he has
yeah,
been
yeah.
omitted.
Yeah, we talked about last week. Not just him, but also JJ Mac. And
Um,
the big rumor was that it's Macias, somewhat of a diva, like his
well,
whole demands. That was rumors, though. I'm gonna say those are rumors. Take it for what it is.
but Macias is colder than Ricardo's basement because I know that's where he lives in his mom's basement.
Dang.
Um, yeah, I throw back at the comments. No, but Tata Martino said that now that he is in the MLS, he's obviously had a very good start. This is not an issue that anyone can ignore. We hope that he can continue his performance. I've spoken with Javier, and I've traveled to LA, and he says that he's going to continue to do his job, and we'll consider it. But there was outlets saying that he's been banned from the team because he was caught partying in New Jersey back in 2019. So there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors about him just being disciplined and being kind of pushed aside from the national team because of that. So there's that. There's always two sides to this, I do think it's weird though that he's kind of been like pushed aside from the national team. I know he had a very bad season last year, but like not even like the social, like the Twitter accounts, they're not even them. They haven't really given him any recognition for what he's been doing lately. So I don't know, man. Does he have beef with the federation?
I say
Yeah,
just trust the coach. Trust the coach. All these fans and people don't have the insight, don't know what they're talking about. They just have their opinions. The coach is the one who's got the authority, got the
it's
knowledge.
it's it's what I say about Buse, but Jaime don't want to believe me.
Oh shoot, it happens worse with Chivas fan. Our man Rigo, man, he's like one of the most critics of every single coach except Almeida. And he gives like good details. He says like this guy shouldn't be here. He's not this type of player. This guy should is playing out of position, and all these things. Like he's like a coach and stuff, and knows more than Buse or Cardoxo or whoever.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's the thing. It's we see it, and we're seeing this is not like I fans are knowledgeable enough to know or to understand certain stuff. But like you said, Chiquis, there's a lot of other info that we also don't know about. We don't know what's going on during the training sessions and whatnot. So
I have no beef with Chicharito not making any call up or Macias or
Ooh.
whoever. Like if the coach feels that way, then that's the way it is. Unless
Mm.
it comes out that it's like some personal grudge or something dumb like that, then
So you're all for the tough love. I mean, it worked for Chucky Lozano with Gattuso, and look at how that relationship flourished after that.
yeah.
I,
And
and
Chicharito is MLS. He's coming off a not so good season, so I mean,
yeah, 7 goals in the MLS is equivalent to like what 3 goals in Liga MX. You have to factor in you got to put the MLS goals through the little converter. You know, like what does this mean in the rest of the world of football? Because it's a lot easier to score in the MLS than it is anywhere else in the world. But I do think though, beggars can't be choosers. You know what I mean? We do have a striker problem. I've been saying this for a long time. Raul's out. We don't know when he's gonna be back. Macias hasn't been living up to the hype. And that doesn't leave much left as far as strikers go. We're not calling up Funes Mori. We're not calling up Ormeño. We're going to have to rely on Henry Martin and Pulido. And it's like, you know what? You have the top goal scorer of all time for Mexico. He's in rhythm. He's in form. It looks like he's taking this season very serious. Give him a call up. It's not going to hurt anybody. That's all I'm saying. Closing thoughts. Ricardo had one. He says that Santos are going to win it all. All right. I like that take. Joel, you got any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
you guys pretty much covered it. I'm just saying that I'm gonna stick with Cruz Azul to finally break their hex.
If anybody can do it,
the curse.
it's Reynoso, the captain that won the 97 title the last time. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's that coach. If there was any time to do it, it's now. I think their opposition is accessible. I think they can get the job done. And at this point, it's on them if they can't get the job done. They've had plenty of opportunities. But I want to thank everybody active in the YouTube comments tonight. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the Liga MX community on Reddit. We've been uploading memes. I hope they've been enjoying them. I've been enjoying them. And catch us next week. Hopefully by then we'll have some we'll have some finalists. We'll see who was right in the predictions, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
well, bye.
Huh.